What will happen when you cross an EV's nuts list with a bargain hunter's budget? Well, you get the Xpeng G6. This is where you'll get everything you want from a Tesla Model Y except the price tag. Well, almost everything. Hi, my name's Jeremy. This is Mike. And today we're going to tell you the good, the bad, and everything in between about the Xpeng G6. So let's dive into it.
This one is so easy.
Our weapon is the Explorer.
YouTube.
It comes with an even bigger motor and a larger.
Is that how we... When you first look at the Xpeng G6, you'll notice that the design philosophy is all about keeping everything clean and minimal. There's no gimmicks, no fake air vents here, just clean, smooth lines that flow from the front all the way to the back, with a few design cues borrowed from Porsche. Over by the front, we have a light bar across the nose, which makes it look a little bit like what you see on a Cybertruck, and the headlight modules are now located lower, nearer to the bumper. Over in the middle, we have frameless doors, and around the back, it is just as clean and minimalistic as well. There is a thin light strip across the back, broken only by the rear view camera, and the Xpeng badge is plastered all across the middle. For 60K, which is the price that you're paying for the Xpeng G6 rear-wheel drive long-range version, and yes, they only come in rear-wheel drive, I think the proportions are just right. It looks luxurious, sleek, and sophisticated even, but without the luxury car price tag. Now, the Xpeng G6 comes with 20-inch rims as standard, which is something that you need to pay $2,400 for on the Model Y. And also, in the Model Y, if you want any paint other than white, you also have to pay, you've guessed it, another $2,400, which means before you've even driven your Model Y, you're basically out $5,000 in optional extras. But in the Xpeng G6, these are standard features. How good is that? Door handles. I know why car makers are making them flush. It's all about the aero and clean design. But some car makers have taken the whole efficiency thing a bit too far, and they've made something simple as opening a car door way more difficult than it needs to be.
Push down on it!
What?
Push it down!
I am pushing down on it.
Push the button! It looks like you're pushing the keyhole.
The what?
There's a button under the handle. Press that in.
Okay. Now what?
Open the door.
That is a stupid design.
Now, the door handles on the G6 is also flush, but they glide out electronically when you approach it. And now, all you have to do is pull on it like a regular door handle and get in. It is very smart, very simple. Now, on the inside, it feels roomy. There's plenty of headroom. There's plenty of light coming through that panoramic roof. It feels very smart and very high-tech in here, but it still feels like a car. And that's because it still has one of these. This is what us elder millennials call an instrument cluster. And with it, you can easily glance useful information like your battery levels, your range, your tire pressure, but most importantly, your speed, so you can avoid getting love letters from the police.
That's the sound of the police!
Sure, you can still see your speed on the big iPad, but having an instrument cluster means you can free up your big iPad for doing something else. And that something else is Android Auto and Carplay. And if you haven't heard, is a bit of a sore point for a lot of Tesla owners. Let me explain.
Everything's computer.
For a car that is basically a computer on wheels, it's kinda nuts that you can't use Apple Maps, Waze, WhatsApp, or your favorite podcast app on the main screen. Which means, if you want any of those things, you'll still have to pull out your phone to interact with it. And the last thing you want to be doing these days is to be caught fiddling around with your phone while driving. And still on the topic of things that are missing from a Tesla, take a look at this. This here is an indicator stalk and a gear selector too. Shocking, right? I know. Xpeng seems to get it. Xpeng seems to get it. People still prefer physical levers, things that you can actually use rather than swiping at the monitor. Now, as a result of deleting all the things that should have been there as standard in the first place and chasing efficiency for efficiency's sake, there is now a whole new industry spawned by Tesla that sells you aftermarket parts that lets you put the stalks and the instrument clusters back in. It's kind of ironic, kind of like claiming that using a single chopstick is way more efficient than using two.
You serious?
No, it isn't. And then only to find out that you have to buy the extra chopstick back from an aftermarket seller.
That is a stupid design.
Now, not every feature can be added back via aftermarket parts. And by this I mean if you have to change the temperature in your cabin, you will have to use the main screen. Now, some of the settings are buried 3 menus deep, but it is not a very steep learning curve, and given time, you will eventually get used to it. Now, having all the controls tucked away in the screen and controlled via software does come with one upside. And that is, you can now access features like air conditioning, heated seats, windscreen defroster remotely from your phone. You can even get the car to honk, flash, which is perfect for finding your car in a car park. Now, the Xpeng G6 does come with built-in dashcams. It is something similar to Tesla's Sentry mode, and it uses all the onboard cameras to constantly monitor and record what's happening around the car. So if something shady does happen around your G6, you can rely on your G6 to have all the receipts. Now, over here by the center console, you'll get 2 wireless chargers. They both go up to 50-watt wireless charging, which is extremely fast. And they both have these little air vents in them to help blow cold air onto your phone so that you don't overcook them. It's a shame though that not many phones can take advantage of that fast wireless charging, because the iPhone and even the Samsung max out at 15-watt wireless charging. So if you want faster charging, you'll just have to plug them in down here. Here you get a USB-A and a USB-C port, and there's more storage down here as well. And if you need to power your laptop, there is a 12-volt socket with a 180-watt output, which is perfect for charging small appliances on the go. But if you want to take things a little bit further, you can buy a V2L adapter, that's short for vehicle to load, and with it you can use your car's battery to plug in a kettle, a power tool, and even your house during a blackout. Now back up on top, you get more storage compartments, 2 cup holders. The only things missing is a glove box, ambient lighting, and a rear screen for the passengers at the back. These are standard equipment on a Model Y. Unfortunately, they're not here on the Xpeng. Now, the front seats are very comfortable. They are fully electric, heated and ventilated, perfect for when it's freezing cold or stinking hot. And you can also control them remotely from your app so that your seats are in the right temperature when you get in. The seats are wrapped in vegan leather and they feel premium without being overly flashy. And the cool part is, both seats can recline nearly flat, which turns this cabin into a mini lounge. Oh man, my Hong Kong leg. And then you can plug in your game console straight into the main screen and play your favorite game. Or you can blast your favorite YouTube show through the 18-speaker stereo.
Electric bikes with flat tires are some of the funnest and coolest ways of getting around town.
And if you're picky about sound, you'll be happy to know that the Xpeng G6 comes with a subwoofer, and there's also a full EQ built into the system so that you can tweak the bass, mids and treble to exactly how you like it. And speaking of speakers, there are two very special speakers here by the shoulders. And they act like a sat-nav whisperer to the driver, which means when the music is cranked up to 11, playing Baby Shark on repeat, you can still hear turn-by-turn signal through your seats.
Exit left.
It is very handy, and it might just save you from a big argument with your spouse because you didn't miss that exit. So over in the back, it is surprisingly roomy in here. There's plenty of headroom despite having that sloping roof. The rear seats, they can recline and you can really stretch out here. Look at that. When you put the armrest down, it really feels like you're in a limo. The only thing we're missing is some champagne. Now, the only downside to this cabin, apart from not having a glove box, is that the rear visibility is a bit tight. But you do have a rear view camera to help you out with that. And while the panoramic sunroof is great, it lets in a lot of light, I don't think it's that ideal for the Aussie summer. Fortunately though, Xpeng will sell you a sunshade for $160. Now, let's check out the boot space. With the rear seats up, you basically get 571 liters of boot space here, which basically fits a decent sized adult. With the rear seats down, you get 1,300 liters of boot space, which in theory lets you fit in a washing machine. And I'm told by some G6 owners that the tailgate closes a little bit too slowly. How slow exactly is it? Well, let's find out.
Trump was slow.
Now on one side, we have the BMW X6. This is one of the first SUV coupes to hit the market, so this should be a good benchmark. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, let's go to the replay and we'll tell you what happened. So the BMW's boot slammed shut in just 3.3 seconds. The Xpeng G6 took 7.1 seconds. So yes, it is slow. But maybe that's on purpose. So to test out this theory, we are going to open the boots back up again and we're going to use 2 Red Bull cans to simulate human arms. And we're going to see how well these tailgates handle it. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so this is our human arm. This is the Xpeng G6, barely a dent in here. And the BMW X6, well, let's say the can has seen better days. So yes, the G6 has a slow tailgate. It trades in a little bit of speed for a little bit of safety. And that's probably not a bad deal.
Trump was slow.
Now, while the boot of the G6 may close a little bit too slowly, finding a parking and sliding your G6 into a tight parking spot is something it does smarter and faster than most humans. And on top of that, you don't have to pay $5,000 for the Autopark feature. Take a look at this. Now, it's going to say there is a spot between the van and the bike. We're just going to select it. We're just going to hit Autopark. Then we're going to release the brakes and let the car handle the rest. In previous auto parking system where you had to line up the car perfectly, this one, you just tap on the button and then there's no measuring, there's no guessing. It handles the rest. How cool is that? Now, what's even cooler is that you can even get the G6 to park itself without you being inside. Super handy for days when you're running a little bit behind. And for days when some idiot has parked a little bit too close to your G6, you can use the app to summon the car out. And that way, you don't have to ding your door. Now, if you're someone who doesn't like parking, and let's face it, nobody does, you might just want to take a look at the Xpeng G6 because it just makes parking effortless. Well, it's a 3-point. It's doing its 3-point turn. Oh yes, I did select this spot. Well done, Xpeng. Hello, hello.
See how fast it's...
Yeah, it's really like intuitive, really quick. I thought that was a drone, but it's a magpie. And then do I have to...
That's it.
That's it. Amazing! Oh. Now that we know it's amazing to park, what's it like to drive?
Well, the drive is comfy, the ride is not soft, like driving a boat. It feels like Xpeng has tuned this car for everyday driving, which means it absorbs the bumps very well. The steering wheel is a bit on the lighter side, which means it's good for low speed maneuvers or tight city corners. But if you wanted to, you could tune the steering wheel to how you like it. It is not exactly dripping with a lot of road feedback, so if you're coming from a performance vehicle, yes, this will feel a bit numb. But for what it is trying to be, which is an electric vehicle SUV, it makes perfect sense. It does 0 to 100 in a respectable 6.2 seconds, which means you won't be winning any drag races with a Model Y. However, with 440 Newton meters under your right foot, which is the same output as a Porsche 911, overtaking is not only easy, it is fun. Take a look at this. That's 440 Newton meters under your right foot. Just make sure you don't get carried away.
That's the sound of the police.
Now, let's talk charging. Xpeng claims that the G6 has a range of 571 kilometers and it runs off an 800 volt architecture. To put it simply, most EVs run off a 400 volt system. To go from 400 volt to 800 volt is kind of like upgrading from a garden hose to a fire hydrant, which means you're going to get way more juice way more quickly. And that's why you'll be able to charge from 10% to 80% in just 20 minutes. That's basically a coffee break. But are there a lot of fire hydrants out there? Well, the 350 kilowatt charging infrastructure is already in Australia. The problem is, you won't get too many of them. There's only 40 of them scattered all across Australia. But they are located in areas where you need them most, like on the road from Melbourne to Sydney, which means in the future, road tripping in an EV will no longer feel like a charging marathon. The only bummer is that you won't get access to Tesla's superchargers. There's a tech drama going on behind the scenes, but Xpeng says they're working on it. Xpeng G6, should you buy it, should you shortlist it, or should you give it a miss? Well, let's run the numbers. For the base price of a Model Y, you're basically getting more tech, more range, and faster charging, and extra features like Carplay, self-parking, and a 10-year warranty if you order before 30th June 2025. That 60k drive away on the Xpeng G6 really hits the sweet spot. Sure, it doesn't come with a frunk, the boot closes a little bit too slowly, yes, there is no ambient lighting, and there is no rear screen. Plus, there's no glove box too. But if you wanted all that, you're looking at an all-wheel drive long-range Model Y. And it doesn't come with 20-inch rims, and it only comes with basic white, and there is no auto park. And if you wanted all that options added in, you're pushing that price upwards to 85k. And when you compare that to the G6, that's a 25k difference. That's basically a whole nother car, or a decent getaway to Bali for the next 10 years. So, should you buy it? Well, if you're in the market for a Model Y and you don't like paying the premium, yeah, it's definitely worth taking a look. Should you shortlist it? Yes, come in for a test drive at Xpeng Melbourne. Mike's contact details is in the video description below. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but it can't hurt to try. Should you give it a miss? Well, if you live in an area that's only serviced by Tesla superchargers, unfortunately, the Xpeng won't be that compatible to your lifestyle. So that's it, that's our analysis. Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have, please don't forget to leave us a thumbs up and please do subscribe so you can stay tuned for more videos like this. And if you're in the market for an Xpeng G6, well, Mike's contact details is in the video description below. Thank you, bye.
Everything's computer.